Welcome to the Chosen Few Expats Show. I'm Alonzo. Today we have with us a special guest who you all should recognize if you've been researching Panama on YouTube. An expat who's been living in Panama for 6 years, who is a businesswoman in Panama, and today she's going to tell us about her experiences as an expat in Panama. So let's welcome Vanessa Monroe to the show. Vanessa,
Hi guys. ¿Qué sopa? ¿Qué lo que? ¿Qué lo que?
Bienvenido. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So everyone, by now you all should recognize Vanessa from her channel, YouTube channel, VGIRL TV, which is a very, very fast growing channel. She's putting out some great vlogs and great information about Panama that's going to help a lot of us to research before making our move, and then after we make our move to become acclimated. So thank you so much, Vanessa, for the work that you're doing and you're putting out there on YouTube. So people like me appreciate it. I've been watching your videos, and I know a lot of our subscribers appreciate what you're doing out there. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We're going to be covering a little bit more about Vanessa's channel later on in the show. But for now, Vanessa, if you would please tell us about yourself, what's your background, and then also tell us when did you decide to leave the U.S. to become an expat in Panama? And why did you choose Panama?
Okay, so my name is actually Shana Vanessa, for those of you who don't know, because I know sometimes in my vlog you'll hear people calling me Shana or you'll hear people calling me Vanessa, but my real name is really Shana Vanessa.
Or
so
when I got that email back that says Shana or whatever, and I was like, okay, who is Shana?
Yeah, yeah.
That's middle.
My name is Shana Vanessa, so that's where the V Monroe comes from. I am an entrepreneur, YouTuber, content creator, businesswoman, everything that you can think of, I am that. So the story is actually really, really funny because when I was pregnant with my son, so my background is Panamanian. My whole entire family is Panamanian. I'm Panamanian, but I grew up in New York. So I'm just like American pretty much. But my parents always instilled in my sister and I Panamanian culture. We understand Spanish, we speak Spanish. So we were very involved in the Panamanian community growing up. Like I danced Congo, and I also danced Típico, which is the national dance of Panama. Mm-hmm. So I did that since I was young. And so fast forward, when I was pregnant with my son, my mom had already moved back to Panama. And I used to always say, I'm never moving to Panama, like never. And my mom used to always say, you know, I wish that my grandson could go to school in Panama. Like she would always say that. I wish my grandson could go to school in Panama. I wish my grandson could go to school in Panama. I don't want my grandson to be raised here. And I used to always look at her like, lady, get a grip, because it's not happening, right? So the first 2 years of my son's, I want to say like 3 years, he went to private school, which is like nursery school, but it was a private school in the States. And then I ended up going through like a rough time in my life. So I had to send him to go to Panama with my parents. So he was in daycare here, and he would be in Panama like a lot. Mm-hmm. And when he turned 4, when my father was going to bring him back to the States, my father told me, he said, they call him Papa. He's like, Grandpa, you know something? And my father was like, what happened, Papa? He was like, I don't want to go back to America. Mm. And my father was like, why not? He was like, because I really just don't want to wear a jacket. So we all thought it was a joke. Yeah. We all thought it was a joke. And then his dad is Jamaican, actually. Jamaican descent, but he also follows the Nation of Islam, right? So when we were dating when we were young, he would always like tell me like about things that was going on in the States and about the black man and all this stuff. And at the time I was young, I was like, okay, whatever, guy, you know? And then, so now fast forward, I know I keep going back and forth. When Amir was about to finish pre-K, we started to see like there was like a change in the States. Okay, now this is 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. Things were looking a little bit different than usual. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to raise my son here. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Panama I mean, that's where I'm originally from, where my family is from. My mom already was living there. My dad was already living there. And pretty much my whole entire family was living there, with the exception of a few that was still living in the States. But they were far from New York City anyway. So it wasn't like we were, you know, around each other all the time. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to Panama. I'm gonna try it out. So I spoke to his dad, and, you know, being a follower of the Nation of Islam, he already has this mentality. And he's like, you know what? He was like, although I'm going to miss my son, I feel like it's the best, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. Things weren't working out for me in America as far as like job. I graduated from college. I felt like I was fighting to get a decent opportunity. You know, like I did everything that I was supposed to do. I graduated from college. I graduated on the dean's list. Like I did every single thing, but for some reason, I don't know. Like I don't know. I just couldn't see my way at that point. And then my last straw, I was working for a popular hospital in New York City, and there was a really young girl, and she was Caucasian. Just graduated from college, okay? She barely, and they gave her a supervisor position. She never worked. Never worked. She never even worked a day in her life. But they gave her a supervisor position. And I was just like, this can't be life. Like I did everything that I was supposed to do. I graduated, you know, I worked hard, and still they just look right past you. So at that point, I was like, you know what? Forget this. I'm going to go to Panama, and I'm going to try it out. I'm going to do something different. If it doesn't work, I can always come back. If it works, it is what it is.
That's right. That's the attitude to have. Give it a shot.
Exactly. And I find like a lot of us, like as in Black people, and I really don't want to make this about race, but I just want to say this. We as Black people, we have a fear of stepping outside the box. We get very comfortable and complacent in life, right?
Yeah.
And that's the reason why a lot of us are in the situation that we are in the States, because we're complacent with the way things are. We can't see outside of what's in front of us. We just see this, but you don't see past that.
Programming also, it's programming. Been programmed
It is.
to think that the U.S. is all there is, and you know, if you're outside of the States, then life is just going to be so terrible, right? But it's just
exactly. And so I was like, you know what? I'm leaving. I sold my car. I sold whatever I had, and I was on the first plane out that summer. But prior to that, of course, I came down and I did like whatever arrangements I needed to make as far as school and figuring out what school he was going to go to. I already had my my cedula, which is the Panamanian ID. So things were a lot easier for me. That's why I always tell people my situation was a little bit different, because I didn't have to do that, the visa and all that, because I'm already Panamanian. So my situation worked out a little bit different for a lot of people. So I was able to open up my bank account. I was able to do a lot of things that it may be a little bit difficult for other people. But by the grace of God, everything worked out the way it was supposed to, and I don't really have any regrets.
Yeah, your situation is definitely unique, you know, by having family members here. So your decision to come to Panama is going to be vastly different than the course everyone else takes to get there. People are researching different countries and other stuff, and that's not something that you really had to do. And then the other thing, I guess, that works for you is like sometimes God will just put something there to just, you know, that just like you said, it was the last straw, and you know, like, hey, I'm out, you know what I mean? So I'm glad you took the leap, and it's great that you have family there to support, you. We appreciate you helping everybody else out who's not fortunate as you. And I'm glad that you often point that out also. You often point out to say, hey, you know, everybody not in my situation, you guys really need to do some research and check this out. So, appreciate that. So with that, en qué barrio en el ciudad de Panamá es tu casa o tu chanting? y ¿por qué decidiste vivir ahí? Now, before you answer that, dice la gente, tell the people what I said. And if you understood my Spanish at all, tell them what I said, and then you can answer the question.
We gotta go back. You gotta talk again because I got the chanting part, but I missed the first part.
Threw you off when I came with the Spanish. You just wasn't expecting the Spanish.
I wasn't expecting it. I
Have it
wasn't.
right there. Okay.
I wasn't expecting it.
Man, that's so disappointing, girl. I mean, what? Come on.
Mhm.
I basically asked, ¿En qué barrio en el ciudad de Panamá
Okay.
casa por tu chanting? Y por qué decidiste vivir ahí?
So basically, you said what part of the city is my home, and what made me decide to live there.
Yes.
So I live in Panama City. And what made me decide to live here is that I'm a city girl. Like, I cannot live in nobody's mountain. I cannot live in anyone's beach, nothing. I can't live, I just love Panama City. Like, Panama City has everything for me. What I need in life. Like, I'm a very social person. I like to socialize. I like to hang out. I like to go out. And I'm literally like 15 minutes away from Casco Viejo. I'm 15 minutes away from San Francisco. Like, I'm right dead smack in the middle. And then plus, like, where I live, we have like, I want to say, like, we have like restaurants. So it's a lot of dining. Mm-hmm. There's like ice cream parlors where I can take my son. We have Planet Fitness. Like, it's like everything is here. Like, why would I want to go anyplace else? That's just me. That's just my personal opinion, like, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'm still young. So, I mean, maybe when I'm like in my 60s, I may want to slow down, which I doubt because my mom is in her 60s and she's still out in these streets. Okay. So I don't know. And I'm a lot like my mom, but the city, I'm just a city girl. Like, I just love the city. Like, there's everything here. Like, if you want Caribbean food, you can go get Caribbean food. If you want Spanish food, you can get Spanish food. If you want Italian food, you can get Italian food. If you want to get Mexican. So, like, it's so much culture here within the city. And there's so, like, I always tell people, like, Panama has their own culture, but there's also subcultures within the culture. And I find that a lot living in the city. So me personally, I couldn't live anywhere else. Like, I love it here.
So in the city, what neighborhood, what area in the city do you live in?
So I live in the district of San Miguelito, but for those of you who don't know, the district of San Miguelito is really, really big. Like, it can go from, like, you know, lower neighborhoods, lower class neighborhoods to high class neighborhoods. And then there's like in between. So it's really, really big, but I live in the district of San Miguelito and I live in the Brisas area.
Okay, Brisas, okay. So what would you say are 3 positives about living in Panama? And then also, what have you found to be like 3 negatives about living in Panama?
So the positive thing about living in Panama is the weather. Like, I love the weather. I'm sorry?
You got my vote on that one.
Yeah, I love the weather. I love that it's so central to everything. So, like, if I want to fly out to Miami real quick, I can fly out to Miami. If I want to fly, right. If I want to fly out to Jamaica, Jamaica's 2 hours away. Whatever Caribbean island is 2 hours away. So it's like in the middle of every country within the Caribbean and the US. And if I need to go back to New York for whatever reason, I'm only 5 hours away. Mm-hmm. So those are the positive things, along with, I have a lot of other positives, but those are the 3 top ones. And the negatives, you know, people might be upset when I say this because—
Shoot it straight, let them know.
I am a very transparent person and I don't believe in lying to people, mm-hmm. right? And I don't like telling people dreams, but unfortunately, there's a Juega Vivo mentality here. I don't know if you know what Juega Vivo means.
I know that one. No. Still working on
that. So Juega Vivo is basically like, and I'm sure they do this wherever, like in whatever country, when people don't know that you're not from there, like they try to get over. Mm-hmm. Right? Oh, yeah. So you know, people have to be aware of that. Like, when people know that you're not from the States, they kind of like try to take advantage of the situation. I'm gonna give you an example. When Uber was around, when Uber was active, let's say you put in a direction for Uber. If you don't know where you're going, the Uber driver would try to take the long way, right, to get to wherever the location is so that they can make more money off the ride, mm-hmm. right? Yep. So that's an example. I have many more other examples, but
Yeah.
just one example. What else don't I like about Panama? People don't really know time. Like,
Yeah,
if
I
you,
found that out.
yeah, if you have an appointment for like 3 o'clock, sometimes they'll come maybe at 4. Sometimes they may come at 5, and sometimes they might not even show up at all. And they don't really have the courtesy to tell you like, hey, I'm not gonna make it. It's just like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, like a business mentality is not at the forefront. It's more cultural, you know,
yeah.
involved in some kind of conversation with a close friend or family. They're gonna stay with that over going to handle some business or an appointment.
Yes, exactly. So that's another thing. And I'm trying to think very hard of the third thing that I don't like about living in Panama. Um, I don't really have another negative about living in Panama right now.
That's good. You don't have to hit 3 if it's just 2. You can,
Yeah, it's just really 2 for right now. Oh, wait, the third one is bad customer service.
yeah,
Panama has
about that.
very, very, very poor customer service. Like, customer service here in Panama is so bad that sometimes it's like, it reminds me of going to the DMV in
Mhm.
Brooklyn. Like, people don't really go out their way to help you. And I'm not saying everybody, because today somebody proved me wrong, but I'm gonna give you 90% of the people that work, they don't really go the extra mile to help you with anything. Like, if you don't know where something is, they'll go, oh, over there.
Mhm.
And you're looking like, okay, over there where? So yeah, customer service is something that needs to be worked on here. But for the most part, that's about it.